President Trump has been inaugurated, and this is, again, day one, really, of his work began right after he was inaugurated. You know, that's the kind of president he is, working on those executive orders. We've been working through some of those as well for you, looking at ones that we think we need to be prepared to help the Trump administration defend. Lawsuits are already being filed against the administration, but you do want to take a moment and I think, understand what has happened in the last 24 hours in the United States and how it impacts the world. I mean, a huge shift in the issues, the way we see our leaders see the world, who will be advising them, the team that President Trump is building, the reaction from world leaders. I mean, all of this is going to be something we keep a close eye on, obviously, and work closely with here at the American Center for Law and Justice. But there has been a massive change in Washington, D.C. It was clear, even though the streets were pretty empty because it was so cold, that people are excited because they remember what President Trump was able to get done in 4 years. And now that we kind of have this list of goals that he's been talking about, not just for the last campaign cycle, but since he was in office, that he is ready to implement and go for.
We're going to go to John calling from Washington State. He's watching on YouTube. He's got a question about the Birthright citizenship executive order. John, sure. You're on the air.
Yes, the Birthright citizenship, in my opinion, I do believe it should be limited to those who are here lawfully, like people on a visa or on a other green card, not someone that has brought their children or brought a pregnant wife across the border, and that child being born in the U.S. getting immediate citizenship. I think there should be some other kind of limitations like spelled out in the executive order.
That's right, Jordan. So the title of it, and then I'll get your thoughts on it, but just for the audience as well, is Protecting the Meaning and Value of American Citizenship. And it says the privilege of United States citizenship does not automatically extend to persons born in the U.S. when, one, the person's mother was unlawfully present in the United States and the father was not a U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident, or two, when the person's mother's presence in the U.S. at the time of said person's birth was lawful but temporary, such as, but not limited to, under the auspices of the visa waiver program or visiting on student, work, or tourist visa. So it's not, as the news wants you to believe, that it is an ending of birthright citizenship. It's saying that in these categories, if it's an illegal immigrant who comes over to have a child, they are doing that to try and get the citizenship for their child. Or if it's something like a tourist or work visa where they're not really meant to be here a long time, it shouldn't vest in that way. The ACLU's already sued, but Jordan, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think that, and the way this works too, is it looks at the mother, but it also looks at the father. So if the mother, for instance, is here illegally, and the father is not a citizen or is not a lawful permanent resident, so you don't have to be a citizen, but even a green card holder. So if the mother is here illegally and the father has no status at all, then you would not get birthright citizenship. If the father does have lawful residence, not citizenship, but lawful residence, like the green card, you would still get U.S. citizenship. Even that would correct the issue with your mother either not having being here legally or not having a long-term visa like permanent residence, like a green card. And so that they look at that both from the aspect of, again, are you looking at the citizenship angle, and do you look at it from the mother's side or the father's side? So again, it can be corrected. So you look to both parents, and then you can determine whether or not under these new definitions and more clarified definitions, if you meet birthright citizenship. One of the things they're trying to get a hold on is birth tourism. You see that a lot in places. One place where I live, like in South Florida, where people would plan pregnancies and plan to be in the United States if they had the resources around the time they would have their child, so that even though they had no citizenship whatsoever and no permanent residence in the U.S., that their children would forever be U.S. citizens. And so that would prevent some of those activities. Of course, this is going to be challenged, but what we do know is that if Congress gets in and backs up the president on some of these executive orders, when it's Congress plus the president, I mean, that is a very strong case in front of the U.S. Supreme Court. So I think a lot of these executive orders are saying, this is what we want to get done. Congress, you need to come aside and you need to start passing similar language. So it's not just relying on who the president is that determines who's going to get citizenship in America, that our laws are going to catch up to the realities that we have to deal with.